Thanks for staying us. The new Nigeria People's Party, Nnpp, has strongly condemned President Bola Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State. On Tuesday, Tinubu announced the emergency due to a prolonged political crisis in the state, suspending Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, and state assembly members for 6 months. Former Chief of Naval Staff, Vice-Admiral Ibok-Ete Ibas, was appointed to administer the state. The Nnpp criticized the moves, calling it unconstitutional and a dangerous precedent. The party argued that the political crisis in Rivers had not reached a level that justified such drastic measures and that a more reasonable solution could have been pursued. They also questioned whether the state of emergency was politically motivated, particularly with the upcoming 2027 elections in mind. In its statement, the Nnpp suggested that Tinubu's decision could have negative implications for democracy and the rule of law. The party urged the president to reconsider his actions, reverse the suspension of the governor, and called on the National Assembly to reject the state of emergency in Rivers State. And our guest this morning is Barrister Ladipo Johnson, Esquire, National Publicity Secretary, Nnpp. Good morning and welcome to the program, Barrister.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Now, give us an insight to why you took the position that you have taken as a party, Nnpp.
Thank you. As a party, you know very well that Kano State is the only state we won the governorship election. And we've had crisis in Kano. The Emirates crisis, all sorts of things, the governorship going up to the Supreme Court. And over that time, one thing was constant. Those who were in opposition in Kano kept talking on the streets that once there are altercations, once the people say no to the way they felt government was treating them, that a state of emergency would be implemented in Kano State. And this is all political talk, street talk. But you know, when it is consistent, you begin to believe that there's something going on. And politically speaking, amongst politicians in Nigeria, they keep telling you Kano, Rivers, Lagos, those 3 states are important, and that they are in play or were in play, and by any means that the party at the center wanted to get them back by any means. So these things were there. Now with the Rivers one, things had been going on. We all saw what happened, the problem of the state assembly, between the state assembly and the governor. And after a while, we kept saying to people politically that, look, we had this. The governor had to be careful that these people, when I say these people, I'm talking about the national party at the center, would not hesitate to do whatever they have to do if you give them an example. So those were the things that made us believe that, unfortunately, this step, we would arrive at this step. Sorry, I'm not sure if you can hear me or if I can, if you're trying to say something.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, sir. So basically, that is the way the whole thing, we saw it evolve. We heard the Attorney General speak yesterday, saying that the governor may have instigated, what do we call them? The people in the creeks or what have you, so that the blowing up of the pipeline, has it been investigated? So these are the things, and the fear that if things continue this way, it might degenerate. In fact, let me go further. I try to curtail myself. People are talking about Oshun, people are talking about Bauchi, Kano, and Rivers. So we just felt that it is imperative that we release a strong statement to say that this is not proper. We can read between the lines. This is not proper. Yes, there are issues in rivers, but it doesn't warrant. If you look at Section 305 of the Constitution, sir, that enables the president to do what he's done, he hasn't, the ingredients are not complete. They're not complete. And I'm not sure if I'm wrong, you would probably know better. I know that as at yesterday, the Federal House of Reps did not have the number, 2/3, to accept or to ratify what has been done. And we've also called on the members of the National Assembly to reject this. There are two issues there. One is the state of emergency, which we feel is unnecessary. The second one, even graver, is the issue of suspension of the House of Assembly and the government. The president himself has said in recent times, as you well know, sir, that, state governors cannot get rid of elected local government chairmen, etc., and the local government must have its autonomy. Why does he feel that state governors have to be answerable to him? We have a federation, a federating system, rather. So I urge the people, we urge the people of river states, concerned people, to take this matter up in court. Let us establish our jurisprudence. Let us know once and for all the extent of the powers of Section 305 of the Constitution.
Is it something, that is controversial? I thought that was clearly spelled out in the section that you're mentioning, what the steps should be. Even to impeach a governor, there are steps that need to be taken, and it could take you like 3 months before you can impeach a governor, which is the only one recognized by the Constitution to be the steps to be for a governor to be removed from his seat. So the section you're quoting, is it that is a controversial thing, or it is clearly spelled out what can and cannot be done by the president when it comes to state?
It is clearly spelled out. The period or the time, what should be on ground for you to declare a state of emergency, and what should follow, that is the National Assembly. So, yes, that aspect of it is not controversial, but where does he get the powers to say, I'm suspending a sitting governor? And for how long? I know it's been done in the past. Doesn't mean we should continue or repeat things that are wrong. We develop, we evolve, we learn all the time. So that is what I want tested. Where did he get the power to suspend a sitting governor and an elected one and an elected House of Assembly? So you're right, it isn't that 305 is controversial, it is clear. But where are the extra powers? Where have they come from? And that is what the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation tell us.
Yeah, well, the Attorney General came out to say that it was within his rights to do what he did, and he gave reasons why the state of emergency was necessary. So it doesn't look like he's somebody that will interpret that thing to favor anybody. So the president, from what you have said, is acting on what has happened before. He's acting on precedents that has been set by other governments in this country, which means when something happens, like yesterday when I was watching the clip from the House of Reps, I think, one of the people who was in that shouting match that ensued in the House was saying nothing will happen. When it happened in the past, nothing happened. Nobody was held accountable. So why do you think that something can happen at this time?
Because we have a better educated public. My brother, when I woke up this morning, this is a similar thing that happened a few months back in South Korea. And it was all there on the internet. When I say a better educated, more enlightened or more aware, based on social media. The market woman knows what is going on in Ukraine, Russia, vis-a-vis Donald Trump right now. A lot of them do. And that is it. And that is why you see, and I'm able to say, that it seems that from the entire country, from north to west to south, people are condemning what President Tinubu did. They're condemning the move because they know that this is how easy it is. When it happens in one corner and you keep quiet and say, oh, it's not my corner, it might come your way. It might come your way. Easy to justify. How many pipelines have been blown up? Why do we have people collecting billions protecting pipelines? We've had that. What stops you from saying there's a possible breakdown of law and order? Police and military joint task force. Please go there. It still doesn't warrant, at that stage, it still doesn't warrant a state of emergency. That's what we're trying to say. We're not saying there are no dangers in rivers. Of course there is. We can all see clearly. House of Assembly not talking to governor. Governor, you understand, trying to present the budget. Yes, there are issues. But we have things in democracy, mediation. You talk to each other. You can come in, you can mediate various ways. You have party organs. You know the two individuals. One of them is your minister. All of a sudden they're talking about as if Wike has nothing to do with it. One of them is your minister. So there are ways you mediate in these things. The state of emergency itself is an admission of failure in these circumstances. But we see that there might be underlying political currents. And that is why in our release, we ask those questions. That is it because of that we've rushed to this sort of state of emergency?
Okay, so beyond making statements, what should other political parties, especially the opposition political parties, do in this case? Because
I think
it goes beyond just making a statement. What actions, what steps can be taken to make sure that if it is an illegality, it doesn't stand?
Yes, I think the first port of call, the best place, firstly, is to ensure that as many opposition politicians as possible, opposition representatives as possible, whether the House of Reps or Senate, all opposition parties should please hold on, do their best to hold on to their representatives in Senate and the House of Reps and say, please do not support this. Members around the country should talk to their representatives from their constituency, their members of House of Reps, that we don't believe in this. Stop it. Do not join. Put pressure on those at the National Assembly. If proper pressure is put on them, I tell you, a lot of them will not vote, notwithstanding if there are any incentives. They will not vote if they know that their constituents are aware about what is happening and do not want it. So that is the first thing. And of course, the other thing we spoke of is that the people of Rivers themselves should move to the courts. No matter what comes out from it, let them talk. Let the judges talk, and then we'll know whether it is a judgment that is precedent, that can stand as precedent, or one that is my hands are tied. But it must be tested. Where are the presidential powers? It's been done in the past. Where are those powers to say you can suspend a governor?
Oh, well, unfortunately, the numbers of the opposition are depleting in the National Assembly. Every day they are defecting to only one party. They are not defecting to other parties. It's only people outside the National Assembly that are going to other parties, like Nasir El-Rufai, for instance, went to SDP, which again has been said to be sponsored by someone in the center. I don't know how true that is, even though they have denied it. But in the National Assembly, almost daily, people are leaving their parties to the main party, which has become something in Nigeria that goes unpunished and shows that our legislators may not even have the integrity to do what is right. They just want to go to the winning team and stay there because they don't want to put their house in order. Because I don't see why a strong person who is in the National Assembly will leave his party because there's a problem. So who solves the problem? You will go to where there is no problem and just be chilling, as we say in Nigeria. So now that the numbers are depleting, do you have the confidence, or you're just going to go on your knee and be praying that it happens the way it should happen? Because I'm not sure the numbers are there anymore in the National Assembly.
I read, you have a good point, but I read something this morning that had a breakdown of numbers. And you see the number is, you need 2/3 to ratify it. So one way or the other, I do not think that, especially in the Federal House of Representatives, I do not think that the APC can go it all alone. But whatever is causing people to cross carpets in the National Assembly might also be what might be used to try to get them to vote for the state of emergency. That is why I said that if the noise is loud enough, if the movement picks up on a daily basis, then those who have been sent there will remember very quickly that they only have 2 years left from May, even less than 2 years, because from 2026, the election begins. So I think it is an opportune time for us as the people. Don't look at me as a politician now, I'm not holding any office. As the people, to hold our representatives to account. That is what we can do. Now, I don't have to go on my knees to pray. If they decide that that's what they want to do, all well and good. What goes around comes around. That's the way of the world. What goes around comes around. And that is what I said when I heard that if you are so much in a hurry to call declare a state of emergency, what would happen if some other people were in a hurry to say you don't have a hold as a president on insecurity, inflation is spiraling, etc., etc. It's not that things are fantastic. Every day we're hearing of people being killed in Benue, people being killed in Plateau State on the farms, things like that. What is happening? Kidnapping and everything. No one called a state of emergency over your head. You're saying, give us time, give us time, give us time. And you say the time has run out for for Rivers. Within how long?
Okay.
So you see, it's as I say, I'm not insinuating anything or threatening anything. But what goes around comes around, and what you begin.
Well, what goes around comes around. But I would like to point out that it depends on where it meets you when it comes back around. Because, for instance, the president of the Senate was also protesting in his time. I think it was the Dogara, Saraki-led Senate. He was protesting the same thing that Natasha Akpoti is protesting now. And then we would have expected that, okay, now that it has come around to bite him as well, he would remember. But it has come around when he is the Senate president and he can do and undo. So what goes around comes around, but if it meets you in a better position, it may not affect you at all. That's the Nigerian scenario. I don't know whether karma works in Nigeria or it doesn't work. Now, even when you go to Kogi State, yes, there are people in the constituency of Natasha Akpoti who are trying to do a recall of this senator. And if you ask 80% of them, I can tell you for a fact that they don't even know the details of what is happening in the National Assembly. So these are the people you're putting the fate of Nigeria in their hands. And, you know,
these are the Nigerians. You see, unfortunately, at this stage, we have universal suffrage at this stage. We cannot say, oh, some people cannot vote because they don't think or what have you. Understand? We can't, not in our society. So these are the Nigerians. That is why I say I don't need to go down on my knees to pray. If that is what they decide on, good.
Okay.
The problem here is the rigging, the impunity. But if we have free and fair, which will never happen, but mostly free and fair, then whatever they decide, what they vote for is what they get. I keep telling people in Lagos, where I come from, I keep telling them, when they complain about paying school fees and whatever, I keep telling them, I said, it's the rice and garri you collected. You voted for a man whose track record is about raising revenue. He was our governor in Lagos for 8 years. He believes that once revenue is coming into government, government is working. How about the welfare of the people?
All right.
How about consumer price, etc.?
Well,
it's what they chose.
We thank Nnpp for speaking out. I hope all other political parties will speak out as well. I hope that individuals whose voices are stronger than so many other people will also speak out if it is wrong and and make sure the necessary thing is being done. This is a martial law that has been passed in Rivers State as it is. It's not just a state of emergency, because a state of emergency will still allow the governor there. The governor will take decisions that he ordinarily would not take. That's a state of emergency. But a martial law will now put military rule, which is something that is happening in Rivers State right now, which eventually led to the jailing of a president somewhere in this same world that we are living in. But this is Nigeria and all that. We thank you for your voice as a party and as an individual. We hope that others will borrow a leaf and say what needs to be said. Thank you so much, Barrister, for coming on the program this morning.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, that was Barrister Ladipo Johnson, National Publicity Secretary, Nnpp. They have given a strong statement condemning what happened in Rivers State, or what is happening in Rivers State. We will take a chapter 2 of that, Rivers State crisis, when we return from this short break. Stay with us.